Joe Rogan Podcast, check it out.
The Joe Rogan Experience.
Train by day, Joe Rogan Podcast by night, all day.
Good to see you, my friend.
Yeah, you too.
Young Jamie. So I stopped you.
Yep.
We were getting coffee. I said, stop, hold this. So what were you saying?
Which one first?
The prostate one.
Okay, so prostate one.
Let's go straight to the dick.
All right.
That is not really the dick. It's like it's behind the dick.
So this would be.
I'm an anatomist.
It is behind the dick.
Is that a word? Anatomist?
Autopsy?
So bladder contains approximately 5 milliliters of cloudy yellow urine.
Mm-hmm.
The prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged with marked enlargement of the verumontanum.
That's how I would have said it.
The testes are unremarkable. That's the last thing I want anybody to say about my nuts. I want them to say, wow, what a great pair.
Great body, but the nuts are
Unremarkable.
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 So here is some sort of discussion between him and someone.
Okay. The guy says exactly not clear what effects hormones might have on that aren't replaced by testosterone. The advantage of taking testosterone, there are 2 different things. You can have high testosterone and still have a need for Viagra because you don't have a prostate, right? And then Epstein says, correct.
And then at the bottom, they show another document.
Hold on. Let me keep going there. Yep. So that's an extreme example. I was actually going to try and move up one level, sort of drug-enhancing life. If you don't mind it, he doesn't mind it. I'm sort of outer space thinking. Oh, so he's trying to juice up. So he's saying I'm moving up one level of sort of drug-enhancing life. I don't know what, I think he means he's going to start juicing. That's what it sounds like.
So he doesn't have a
Doesn't
prostate?
have a prostate, it
So there's
says.
another document that says something about it after a radical prostatectomy.
Prostatectomy.
So when they take out your prostate?
But that doesn't necessarily say he had his. I think it's a document.
But he
saying-
said
Yeah,
he
yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
have
Correct,
a prostate,
right,
and
right.
it says patient Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And it says, according to the American Urological Association, serum PSA should decrease and remain at undetectable levels after radical prostatectomy.
And there's other documents where
Prostatectomy.
he's contacting doctors that specialize in that very thing.
Okay, so the doctor saying he had a radical prostatectomy. He's saying he does not have a prostate, but yet the body from the autopsy
And so
talks about the prostate is slightly and diffusely enlarged. So that's not his body? That's what it seems like.
I don't buy
You don't buy that?
I don't buy it's dead. Why would you?
Right. I don't buy his dead either.
here's the other.
But,
one.
however, hold on.
This is from a attorney. So this is like assistant United States attorney or something.
So the OCME told me it signed a confidentiality agreement in connection with the investigation into the murder of Jeffrey Epstein.
So that's almost 6 months after he died. They're asking for a document about the investigation of the murder of Jeffrey Epstein.
Was that because there was accusations that it was a murder?
That you don't,
So we talked about this before, that 18 days before he allegedly committed suicide, he complained that his cellmate tried to kill him. And you know who his cellmate is?
Who?
Oh, you don't know?
No.
I'm Kurt Metzger. You don't know? You don't know? His cellmate was this gigantic cop who was a murderer. He'd killed 4 different drug dealers. Yeah, he was a contract killer. This is the guy. That's his fucking cellmate. Look at that gorilla.
That's a silverback.
Yeah, dirty cop, murderer. And then they said, most high-profile witness of all time, defendant of all time. Let's put him in jail with a murderer. A guy who contract kills, dirty cop. And then he says, the report was they found him unresponsive with a noose around his neck, or an orange jumpsuit turned into a rope around his neck. And then he said that his cellmate tried to kill him.
My question. Does anyone really believe he was in a jail cell? Because I know if I had the guy that can unravel entire government dynasties and take down an entire system. The last thing, dude, he's somewhere about 3 miles underground with maybe a ball in his mouth with electric rods. You know.
Or he's in Israel sipping Mai Tais.
Correct. Either place, it's like that video you said. You sent this on a runaround. We're gonna ask you one more time, or then we're gonna laser off your nipples. I'm telling you right now. We need So it's he's either in Israel, like you said.
If they had that, they would just get rid of his body.
You saw the picture of the so-called that was him in Israel.
I think that's AI.
I think it's AI too. That's a scary thing with AI.
I think it even had a little AI watermark on it. The one I saw, at least. But who knows? It could be a real picture that someone put through AI to put a watermark on it so that people can go, oh, it's AI.
Right. You don't know.
Do you see the lady that they say looks exactly like Ghislaine
Yes.
Maxwell? I don't think she looks exactly like Ghislaine Maxwell. I think she looks exactly like Ghislaine Maxwell 20 years ago.
It was a deep fake.
It's a deep fake?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Same triple reposted the guy that made it. He made
that's
another video too
crazy.
that was not as good, where he's like looking at Benjamin Netanyahu on the street. It's not.
I feel like
as good.
the problem is the aging. She doesn't look aged. She looks younger. But I
She
guess
looks pretty
that's
too.
what happens when you get out of jail.
You get more attractive.
Yeah, you get food, you get sunlight, makeup, a little exercise.
Taking some yoga.
Yeah, is there any video of him in jail? Are there any photos of him in jail? I've never thought about that before, but what you're saying is a good point.
If let's say you were the person that had all this incredible information around the world, bribery, do you really think you take drug lords, you're not killing them, you need the information, so you're going to bring them somewhere, you're going to milk them to it, however that is, whether he's tied up, you're going to torment him. You're like, listen, I'm telling you right now,
It's gonna be great.
I'm going to take care of you. However, I need to know, you say there's tapes, right? Yeah. Where are the tapes? Write them down. And you're going to stick, don't feed him, don't feed him until we get that one tape and we have these names in our hands. And that's probably been going on even for months, for years. You're not taking someone like that going, oh, we're just going to put this very
This is going to be
valuable
amazing.
human being into a jail cell where
Where the multiple murderer
with
who's a
two guys
contract
making
killer
$18 an hour are going to watch it.
who are sleeping
Come on, stop.
when the cameras are down.
Stop! They pre-production. All right, so let's get the green screen, and we have him walking in here, so as that looks somewhat, and we can release it down the road. It's processed Hollywood nonsense. I don't buy it.
Okay, this is assuming, though, that he was working on his own, that he had all this information. So if he's not working on his own, he's working for an intelligence agency, then they have that information as well. So along the way, so there are no secrets that he's holding. They have all the secrets. This is much more likely. So in order for him to be in the position that he was in, allegedly, working for intelligence agencies, working for either the Mossad, the CIA, or both, all the above, I would assume that along the way, all of the information
Get a
is
picture.
shared.
Get a picture.
I do not believe they would let one person have access to all that information and store it themselves. I think they would have access to it at every step of the way. They would communicate with him at every step of the way. And they would probably have, if I was running a government agency like that, I would say, tell me what's going on. What do you have on Bill Gates? What do you have on Les Wexner? What do you have on these guys?
Yeah.
What are they willing to do? What about these scientists?
Yes.
Are they willing to fill bogus science papers out? And what can we do? Jeffrey Epstein's stash
Ever
secret
since I was a
files and
little girl,
storage
I
unit
wanted to come here.
across U.S. that may include never before seen evidence. Oh.
This came out yesterday that when he got arrested, he supposedly paid for investigators to go round up all of his stuff and put it in various storage units across the country, like it's a wild goose chase now. And like there's stuff moving around maybe no one's ever seen. They don't know if they're still getting paid for. They don't know.
Imagine if they found, those storage unit
know,
shows
exactly.
where they break into those storage unit shows?
I don't understand.
And it
how
happened on the real time one.
Right,
Like they
could you
think they're
imagine?
just getting like old baseball
I
cards.
heard those shows are bullshit. A friend of mine told me that what they do is they'll stock those shows, they'll stock those storage units, and then they pretend that they're buying the storage unit that's been abandoned,
look
and
at
then
that?
they get in there and then they find things. But those things were,
Yeah.
fuck
Yeah,
you.
I don't buy any reality TV.
I know, but that's awful.
Well, it's entertainment.
I feel duped.
Do you really?
I do.
Joe, you really thought
That's the thing
once
that
in a while
bothers
you
me.
thought it was real?
Not the government corruption, not all the Medicaid fraud, not all the immigration fraud, not all the ICE stuff. No, what really bugs me is flying on a storage unit show. I just can't.
Or like a cash cab show. Like, are they really contestants?
like
These
I
are
imagine.
great distractions. These are the great distractions to keep us from paying attention.
Yes.
To what's really going on in the world.
Reality TV. There's no reality. It's all well produced. Joe, wow.
How much is it well produced? Here's the question. Is it really well produced? Because it seems like this one was a really shitty production job.
That was like low. The only guy making it is the guy that's selling the ads.
Well, not
He's
just
crushed.
the guy who's in charge of it fucks kids, right?
Oh, this
like,
one.
yeah.
Yes.
So this one, why would you let that guy who's gonna eventually get caught? I would assume if you have a thing
how
for
nice.
kids, you have a thing for if you're a pedophile, if you're into like 14-year-old girls, I would assume you're gonna get caught.
This
and
is
if
a
I
great
had
way
a
to spend
guy
the day.
like that, or was this at a time where you couldn't get caught because there was no internet, and then it got to a point where he had so much power and control because he'd been there for so long, they're like, oh, Jesus Christ, we got a problem.
Well, he's thinking that criminals, they never think they're getting caught, period. Especially, like, think organized crime. If you're, it's no different like the scenes from Goodfellas, right? You come in and say, what's the matter with you? What, you show up with a pink Cadillac? What's the matter with you?
Right.
What's the matter with you? They can't help it. He told everyone, don't
Spend the money.
Don't look flashy. This guy, without a doubt,
His wife had a mink coat on, remember that?
well, that's it. Right. Take it off. Take it off.
Yeah.
Thank you.
My birthday. Take it off. What's the matter with you? Now that guy, this guy, he's just remember when the steroids came out in baseball? And what they do, they were like, listen, you gotta take a hit. You gotta take a hit. Mark, Barry Bonds, you guys, you're gonna go out, we're gonna front you. Don't worry, you're gonna stay in baseball. We'll it'll go away in about 10 years. But the owners are not going to get popped. The people making the steroids, injecting the people aren't going to get popped.
They got popped. Balco got popped.
No,
they got
the little
popped. He went
guys
to
get
jail.
popped.
No,
The
no.
little ones.
No, the head of Balco went to jail. I had him on the podcast after he got out of jail.
What about the owners that knew was good? What about the agents and lawyers that are supplying their stuff?
No. Listen, you don't understand about the baseball thing. The Balco had developed Victor Conte, who had been on the podcast before.
Yeah.
Was a scientist, essentially. And he developed a steroid that was undetectable. Because steroids, they detect them based on certain molecules. And if you adjust certain molecules, it doesn't show up in the test. So he developed this thing called the clear. He called it the clear because it evaded tests.
Right.
This is to evade the test that the Major League Baseball Association was doing, and any drug tests, because this was an unknown steroid. So this was not known by the organizations. It was not known by the team. It was not known by anybody. People suspected it because Barry Bonds grew 5 hat sizes and gained 50 fucking pounds of solid muscle.
They all
People
did, yeah.
suspected it.
Right.
But the bottom line is you don't know what you don't know, and they didn't know. There's no reason to tell them, hey guys, we're giving Barry some secret steroids. He did this for his own personal gain because he was brought to the attention of this Victor Conte guy, who eventually became an anti-doping guy, which is really weird. He ran SNAC, which is this thing that like helps people like detect testing and
Sure.
use it, use supplements that are illegal.
Sure.
But that I don't think that was known by everybody. I think they kept it all on the DL because there was such a blight that was attached to steroid use. You were a cheater, especially in baseball, which is like the American pastime. Be a cheater in baseball.
Well, I'll tell you this. I remember at that time, because I was you were in TV World, and you attract all different
we
types.
did a show. Well, you weren't on the show back then. On Hardball.
The baseball,
Barry
yeah.
Bonds was on Hardball. Yeah. He was on one of the episodes.
Like third, yes, I remember
Yeah.
seeing that because we'd sit and watch. My wife and I, I'm like, guys, Joe, because we tried out for the same thing, and I rooted.
happening?
Well, you were in the pilot.
Yes, I was in the pub, but I rooted for everyone I knew.
Yeah.
I was just like, oh my God, Joe.
You've always been like that.
I loved that. But back then, like a couple years later, become friends with
Okay, boss, today we're legit.
certain
We got a client
type
needing
of people
washed.
and
Then the owner would collect and
lawyers,
drop off the car
agents, blah, blah.
personally
And
in
I
spotless
remember,
condition. I just love hearing him smile.
I
you know?
remember one night hanging out, and kind of like, wow, this is so-and-so who, I don't want to get into names and all that, but there we go, you want to hear some crazy phone calls. Me? It's like, boom. And they told me 75%. I'm like, what?
75%.
75% of what?
Athletes are on
PEDs or on
steroids.
steroids. I'm like, what? 75, 80% baseball? I'm like, come on. There's no way. Come on. And then he'd play a phone message. And I didn't want to say this for years because I thought I'd get locked. Hey, I love you. So I remember them going, here, listen to this. And you would hear like the wives on my life going, if he hits me one more time,
Oh, Jesus
I'm
Christ.
reporting all of you. I'm gonna do it. And then he played the next one like, hey man, we got a big series coming up with the Dodgers. I need my shit like now. I need it by blah blah blah.
And
So
who is this person calling?
these were ball players calling their representation.
So the representation meaning their
Agents
Okay.
and
So the-
lawyers.
So maybe the agents are the people that hooked them up with the people that had the juice, which makes sense.
And then they would talk.
Because the
but
agents want money.
They want money, and
So
now
what's
they're
the best
also,
way to get money? Guys got to hit home runs.
This guy hit home runs. He's got to start throwing the
Right.
ball. He
That
makes
makes
money.
sense.
I make money.
That makes sense.
And then we all make money. And then I start telling, if I'm not saying this happened, but if you're an owner, I'm like, hey Joe, I'm just telling you right now, this guy, you want to keep an eye on him. He's going to start jacking 20 extra home runs. Really? How's he going to do that? You'll find out. We don't need to talk about that. But next year, if you got XYZ budget, I think he'd like to play it. So there's a lot at play.
Right.
And now you're infiltrating children. Because now you're going into the farm leagues. You can't make it unless you start doing that. But that's why I say someone like this guy with a long network, there's so many tentacles
Right.
all over the place. But you always need the fall guy.
Right.
I mean, was he the demon? Yeah, but there's a lot of demons.
Did you see that the email that I sent you, Jenny, where he's talking about children for sex? Remember, the email I sent you, Jenny? I sent it the other day. I was like, well, that pretty much sums it up then, because he actually said it. Find that. I sent it to you in a text message. This one's crazy.
I've heard
So
some bad
he's
ones.
having a conversation with a woman who says that she heard that there's a place. Here it is. She's very emotional, kind, loving, sharp. I think you can become friends too. So here it says. A friend, Eliza, told me about a project she's doing researching a really bad guy that gets children for sex sent to his island. She almost fainted when I told her that person is me.
Wow.
Like,
Yeah.
what? Okay, so that's just there. There's no way to interpret that any other way. That person is me.
That person is me. I'm the
Children for sex sent to his island. That person is me. Holy shit. That one is fucking crazy. That's 2018.
one. So yeah, this has been going on for
So this is like right before he got arrested, right?
supposedly
But when did he get arrested?
2019,
What
right?
month? So this was like, but there was an investigative reporter that was at the head of all this. This lady that was really pushing. She had found out about his sweetheart deal in 2008, and she started gathering information and pushing it. And that's what led ultimately, I think, to his being arrested.
Or what I would say is the front of like, hey, we're doing things.
Well, if there's a different body that the autopsy had, it makes you question, like, was he ever in that cell? Or was this person who's in that cell, did they sell this person as Jeffrey Epstein? Right. Well, imagine the guy in the cell.
No, I'm not. No.
My name is Harvey, and I'm on the Upper East Side. I don't know what happened. I got a speeding ticket, and now, next thing you know, I can't go home.
Yes, and this poor guy's just getting cards before just sitting there, and he's tying them up on the thing, and he's just, you're going to spin him around for a couple hours.
This episode is brought to you by